Okay, hello and welcome you all to Research Circle. I welcome you all. Uh, Today we are gathered here for the exclusive webinar, which is titled as Glitches in an Indian Education System. And for this, we have with us uh, the expert, Dr. Jenny Raphael. She is a PhD holder and she is an educator and psychologist. She has 20 years plus of experience in teaching adolescents. Now she is teaching at government aided higher secondary school at Kerala. She has published 26 plus articles in various magazines circulating all over the India. So without wasting further time, I would like to invite Dr. Jenny Raphael. You can continue, ma'am.
Thank you so much for this nice introduction. Uh, a very warm welcome to all the participants here, and a very good morning, happy morning to all those who are looking at me. And I feel very much excited to be here on this platform to speak about this particular topic, that is glitches in Indian education system, especially because I think that when I speak from this platform, that is Research Circle, I'm speaking to an audience who is very much interested in research. And it is the need of the hour actually, because we need scientific minds to deal with the issues of our Indian education system. It is the need of the hour. And you see that when I speak about this topic, you must know that as far as the current scenario of our education system is concerned, it is taking place on the online mode, as you know. And we are not going to discuss about the issues involved in this the present situation. That is, we are going to. We will be facing some fundamental glitches or issues that we have failed to notice so far in our education system, or we have not paid enough attention to the difficulties or issues that our system, Indian education system, is confronting. We will be discussing about it. And it is for the first time I am speaking from this platform, and I feel very grateful, very much grateful to the organizers of this webinar of Research Circle. And I would like to thank all of them who are very much interested in hosting webinars all over India and the worldwide, whatever it may be, and their effort must be appreciated. So, without wasting much time, let us enter into the presentation of today's topic, that is glitches in Indian education system. I want to speak about some glitches, but my intention is not to list out some issues or defects or demerits of Indian education system. Intention of this webinar, I will say that I want to invite the minds of audience to a special way of thinking about our system. We must address the issues from this perspective. That is, we have to focus on what we can do to ameliorate our system. And you see that we must know that we can, by discussing from this platform, by this discussion, I expect that we must be capable of uncovering the possibilities which we miss to perceive or overlook. We have some possibilities which we have not made use of, or we have failed to perceive or perceive, or we overlook it, just overlook it. And we'll be thinking deeply about how to reduce the gap between the vision and action. As Indians, we are not short of visions and plans, strategies for the betterment of our education system. What is the problem is that when we come to the implementation level, we just flounder in our attempts, yes, especially in the case of education system, in our education system. And this is the most important thing, that the necessity of exercising systemic thinking. We are not trained. All those who are involved in our education system, all the stakeholders, teachers, leaders of the institutions, and parents and communities, students, nobody is trained to practice systemic thinking in order to approach the issues of our education system. And this is highly important, that we must address this factor also. So I have divided this webinar, presentation of this webinar into 4 sections, so that those who are very much interested in this topic and wanted to involve seriously in the issue can have some organized view, organized way of approaching to the issues that I am going to present here. In the first session, I want to present some paradoxes existing in our system. These paradoxes, by paradox, what I mean is that there are some contradictory situations existing in our system. Contradictory means contradiction between the action and vision, contradiction between the mission and vision, vision and our implementation level, contradiction between the strategic plans and its application and all that. But we are not still aware of the nature of the paradoxes or contradictions existing in our system. This is my experience. I am speaking from my experience of 21 years in the Indian education system as a high secondary school teacher. Look, we wish to improve the standard of our education system. Everybody, all Indians want to improve the standard of education system to an international level. But we are still slaved. We are enslaved to our colonial system of education. We can't free ourselves, though we have passed 70 years after independence. Now we just celebrated our 74th Independence Day, but still we are enslaved to the system in which we are put during our British colonial days. We have not yet freed from that system of education, that objectives of education, that vision of education. And you see that we are committing an error. Parents, teachers, and everybody, all the policy makers and the entire system know well that we are just committing an error, some error, by asking the student to mug information and puke it into the examination paper. At the same time, we cannot put an end to our mania for grades. Whenever we want to evaluate the performance of a student, performance of an institution, performance of a teacher, performance of a leader of the institution, we are looking at the grades produced by the students. When the student is getting good grades, we say that he is performing well. And this is the sole criteria for assessing many aspects of our education system. This is the present scenario, that is scores obtained by the student. We assess everything by it. And we have intense desire for overhauling our system. Yes, all of us have intense desire. All of us say, all of us discuss, all of us preach that our system needs a serious overhauling. And we have everything that is needed for a paradigm shift. Actually, we have enough resources. We have economic resources, we have human power, we have what we say that everything is in place. All the resources are there. But when we come to the implementation level, what happens is that we lack that clarity of pedagogical or curricular cutouts, because ultimate change process has to taken place inside the institution, educational institutions. But we lack the necessary pedagogical or curricular cutouts which we must implement and practice. We lack the clarity regarding it. And you see that if I speak of these paradoxes from a micro level, in the classroom situations, I too expect on a daily basis some paradoxes, some contradictions. For example, I'm an ordinary teacher, like me, dream of enhancing creativity, innovation, and soft skills. I want to import some soft skills that is very much important for to become successful in 21st century to my students. But what happens in the classroom scenario is this, because I can't find enough time, space, and energy to implement my desires, my wishes, and my plans as a teacher, individual teacher, because I can't match it with the demands of curricular demands or day-to-day working space fails to dream with me. This is a paradox existing in the classroom situation. From the micro level, I am speaking of this paradox. And you see regarding the teachers, you just go through the teacher training program, teacher training colleges that is spread all over the India. No teachers, no group of teachers or teaching communities, entire teaching community is not at all trained for influencing the system. They are trained to teach their students well, teach their subject well, in order to deal with the students, in order to deal with the disciplinary issues, mental health issues of the students. For all these things, teachers are getting adequate training, I think, but they are not trained to influence the system. Teachers are not trained to think out of box. They are not getting enough training to practice systemic thinking. And you see that in the teacher training programs or teacher training colleges, we can see that we are not shaping the brains of teaching community, brains of individual teacher. We are not shaping so that they become in such a way that they become carriers of the change. And this is a must, because you know that in no education system can remain static. Education is an ever flexible phenomenon, ever changing phenomenon. Because if an education system remains static, it will move away from society. It cannot respond to the demands of the society. It cannot respond to the needs of the society. Then education system becomes a dead entity in a nation. So ability to move with the change or become carriers of the change, this quality is needed in each individual teacher coming out of the teacher training colleges. And you see that from a macro level, to speak from a macro level, we have robust policies and strategies. Yes, we can say that if we read the National Education Program, National Education Policy that has been published recently, you can see that we have good policies and strategies in place, but we fail at the implementation level. I would like to present it in front of you a typical example from my state, that is Kerala. You know that 3 years back, that is, I think it is in 2017, we started a massive campaign in Kerala. The sublime objective of this campaign was this, that is, in order to raise the standard of government education, that is public school education system, to an international level. This was the main objective of this campaign. And we addressed it as Podu Vidyalaya Samrakshana Yajna. And what happened? We started the campaign with the brilliant objectives and guidelines. We teachers participated in the campaign very much, very energetically. All teachers participated in the campaign, and ultimately it emphasized this was the goal. I am emphasizing or stressing the goal of the campaign: raise the standard of school education, especially the public school education, into international level. This was the sole aim. And you see that entire plan exhibited 100% dedication and commitment to its cause. As a result of this campaign, I can say that we have succeeded in ameliorating the level of infrastructure, quality infrastructure in the government institutions. And to some extent, I will say that our education system is now ensuring the equity to access. And you see that if you take any statistical outcome, statistical report declaring the consequence of this campaign or output of this campaign, you can see that more than 60% of public schools are high-tech in Kerala. And you can see that enrollment into the public school has been increased. And we are proud of our education ministry, who started this campaign in 2017, and under the protect of Honorable Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. And you can see, if you explore the situation in Kerala, what happened after this campaign, you can see that so many students and their parents were willing to opt the government education institutions, government schools for their education. They were not reluctant to this government institution. This was not the story before. Everybody, only this people belonging to the low socio-economic classes entered into the government institution. But the entire story has changed. And I will say that what is the present situation now? The present situation I would like to present in front of you. That is still, even after this campaign that has happened with much vigor and enthusiasm, still the standard of education system in Kerala suffers. We have failed in accomplishing the goal of this massive campaign, that is increasing or raising the standard of education system to an international level. This was our goal, and we have not yet met our goal, that is reached our goal. And as an individual teacher, I thought, what will be the reason? What is the reason for this very visible failure, that is increasing the standard of education system? And if you analyze or explore or investigate about the reason for the failure, you can have so many. You can have a list of reasons actually. If you explore or you make a survey or you conduct a study in Kerala, why this campaign has not yet accomplished its goal. But as a result of personal contemplation, I thought, what will be the reason of this failure? And this is my observation. That is, we started the campaign without defining what is international standards. I just asked the teacher sitting near me, sitting next to me. I asked, what do you mean by international standard? They hadn't any idea. Yes, it is a fact. You see that the teaching community was not at all aware of. Most of the teachers were not aware what are the factors that distinguish domestic standard from the international standard. So they were not able to feel the gap between the domestic standard and international standard. They never felt the gap. So they never felt the need for the change. In other words, the spirit of the campaign, any campaign must be conducted with some amount of spirit in the individuals who are operating behind it. I will say that the spirit of this campaign failed to percolate into the mindset of the teaching community. This is a sole reason, basic reason, not the sole reason. This is the basic reason, fundamental reason for the failure. Teachers never felt that this campaign must be made a reality, or must be successful. And I'm asking, what do you mean by actually international standard? What is it? Is it about raising the enrollment into the educational institution? Is it about increasing the quality of infrastructure, increasing the number of students who score A+ in your institutions? Or is it about ameliorating the ability of the student to apply the knowledge in actual life situations? Or is it about attending to the skills of the students that is very much important in this 21st century job market? If so, is there any concrete plan or objectives are in place to be followed? And are there any framework for implementation or follow-up procedures are there? If you start to answer these questions very sincerely, you can find why couldn't meet the sublime end or a sublime goal of our campaign, massive campaign. And this is the unique testimony which I got from the presentation of an eminent educationist, that is A.K. Bakshi, while he conducted a conference in the last week in the ICSL. According to him, our education system has not raised its stand, is not meeting its expected standards compared to the global level. This is one of the testimonials, because since 1930, you see that we hadn't any Nobel Prize winners in India, especially in science, since 1930. This is one of the most important proof for the claim that the standard of our education system suffers badly. And you see that in the second section of this webinar, we will be thinking seriously about the teaching community. Let us look into the teaching community, including me. You can see that in India, I will say, most of the teachers, the profession of the teaching by its very nature chalks their learning mind. Once a teacher enter into their teaching profession, they take it as a license to quit their learning mind, or it is a license for quitting learning and entering into teaching. But as I said before, education is an ever flexible phenomenon. You cannot work in the field of education without updating and upgrading yourself constantly. So, which means that each teacher must be capable of keeping the student inside her alive. A teacher must be a carrier of dual personality, the personality of a student and personality of a teacher as well. Because you see that when I make a statement like this, if you wanted to have any proof for this statement, you just ask these questions to yourself. If teachers are sitting in front of me, any teachers sitting in front of you, just ask these questions. Does an ordinary school teacher has enough time and space for reading the latest research outcomes that has been produced, that is being produced in the world of research? Actually, on a daily basis, so many new outcomes are coming about the science of education, science of learning. You take a group of LP teachers, UP teachers, high school teachers. Are they getting any enough time and space, or are they aware that these research outcomes are being produced constantly? Are they getting any space for experimenting with the new strategies and to reflect and discuss about systemic glitches seriously? Just explore the staff rooms of your institutions. Does any group of teachers discuss seriously about the glitches of our system, that is demerits or disadvantages of our system? Does any serious discussions are going on? I don't think. Does any teacher have any sincere desire to be a serious contributor to the system? No, this is a fact. And this is one of the proofs for the claims that I have made in the previous slides. You just ask the teacher sitting next to you about this concept, that is metacognition, self-regulation, elaboration, experiential learning, social emotional learning, etc. You just make a survey among 100 teachers in India. I will say that not more than 30 or 35 teachers will say that I have clarity regarding these things. That is metacognition, self-regulation, elaboration, and experience. These are the scientifically proven techniques, scientifically proven concepts or facts for improving the quality of teaching and classroom teaching and learning itself. And I will say, in my experience, if I ask my teachers working with me, they hadn't any idea about these things. But what about the Western countries? Western countries in their classrooms are already saturated with these concepts and the practical things involved in it. They are practicing it, metacognition, self-regulation, and social emotional learning, and all that. They have already embraced this concept and practical tips involved in these concepts, and they are giving raising their students, practicing their students in their classroom atmosphere and school culture and everything. They have already implemented these things. So what I wanted to say is this: in India, there is a wide alarming gap between the teachers and the researchers. Research is something that is taking place in some other world for an Indian teacher. In the science of education, so many research outcomes are coming, very, very, very beneficial research outcomes are coming about learning, about the neuroscientific facts related to learning, about the teaching, quality teaching, efficient teaching, effective teaching. But we Indian teachers are not aware of it. And you see that you cannot see much research papers. If you just Google You cannot see much research papers produced by Indian teachers or educators or whatever or the scientists who are working in the field of education about the concepts like this, that is metacognition, self-regulation, elaboration, experiential learning, and all that. You just Google. Of course, there are some papers, but these papers, in my experience, I just searched in the Google for the papers produced by Indian educationists or who are dealing with research in education and all that. I couldn't see much papers, but some papers are there. These papers are not published in reputed journals, I will say. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that in the national education policy, as educationist A.K. Bashi said, in the National Education Policy 2020, we emphasize that professional development and change of mindset of teachers is an essential thing that we must aim for in our education system. And A.K. Bachi, sir, asks, is there any need for regular teacher education? Need for regular teacher education. We are educating the teachers before they entering into their profession. And there are some in-service training courses are there going on in our system for teachers periodically. But is there any need for regular teacher education? Regular teacher education, he is asking. Let us answer this question. And you see that the transformation of the teachers must happen. A change in the, when we speak about the transformation, what we mean is this, that is a change in the mindset is required. Otherwise, we cannot, this transformation can have, I mean, cannot make this, the concept of transformation a reality. We must be capable of changing the mind of the teachers from this frame, that is what I know is enough. Almost all Indian teachers have this concept. What I know is enough in order to teach mathematics. What I know is enough in order to teach chemistry. No, we must be capable of changing this mindset that I must learn more. This mindset is needed in the teaching community. And you see, in the third session, we are entering into the third session of this presentation. And in the third session, we will be thinking about the change itself. All of us, all the stakeholders, teachers, parents, students, and policy makers, and the personalities involved in the ministry, everybody sincerely wish for a change. But have we thought about the change process happening in a system, especially in an education system? This is a question. There are some specialities or there are some characteristics which is unique to the change process happening in an education system. If we are aware of that process of change, we can make it happen. When we speak about the change that is happening, or we are wishing for to happen in our education system, I will say that we do not have a clear mental model for change. This is my first This is my first statement about the change process that is happening, that we wish to happen in our education system. We do not have a clear mental model for change. You may contradict this statement. I welcome the audience to contradict this. But even if there is a model, of course, a national education policy is a model, is a framework for a change. Even if we claim that we have produced a good model for a change in our system, I will say, we do not know how to install this model of change or framework of change in the brains of teachers. In the brains of teachers, I will say. In this juncture, I would like to emphasize the connection between the leader and the change. When I speak about the leader, I am referring to the leader of educational institutions in India. There exists a significant connection between the leader and the change. Our education system has not come into the correct understanding, real understanding of this connection. The change can happen only through the leader of an education institution. And just I mentioned before, we can install this model for change or framework of change in the minds or brains of teaching community only with the help of the teacher. What I wanted to say is this: leaders of institutions are the frontline architects of the change in an education system. And you see that no change plan will find its way to accomplishment if it fails to sink. This change plan must sink into the minds of leaders first of all, leaders of education institution. And what I wanted to emphasize is this: that is, we need leaders at the helm of education institution with these characteristics. That is, leaders must be capable of exercising an ecological perspective. And leaders must be well versed in latest trends and findings in organizational and managerial research. And they must be capable of pronouncing a vision and articulate the mission of his institution in a language which is admissible to all stakeholders of education. Yes, then only it can percolate into the minds of the teachers. He must be capable of translating the policies and strategies, guidelines from the higher authorities come in a general manner. I will say that it is coming from a macro level. It is the duty or the responsibility of the leader to translate these policies or strategies, guidelines into local objectives. It is an essential thing. Otherwise, we cannot directly implement those policies and strategies directly into all the localities situated, or all the institutions situated in different localities all over India. You know that India is a diverse. India is a country with which is very much diverse in its nature, depending on many factors, culture and socio-economic status and localities. So that just as whatever the town area is there, and the panchayat government, and all the education systems situated in various parts of the country are different in their culture. So this capability to translate the wider policies into local objectives is a must. And leader must be capable of providing a reason for change to the staff. Then only they will be good carriers of the change. In GIST, leader must be a personality who is expected to radiate the kind of the change. What kind of change that we wanted to bring forth in our system? Leader of each education system, education institution must reflect that in his personality. This change and the intention behind the change and the motivation behind the change and the change plan and the change model, his personality must radiate it. Otherwise, what will happen otherwise? Of course, teachers will naturally, definitely obey, or they comply to the rules and regulations and guidelines given by the government. But we cannot expect any kind of active engagement from the teaching community if the leader is not capable of leveraging that motivation and energy in the teaching minds for a change in our education system. Active involvement is different from just mere involvement. You know that change process, regarding the change process, when we speak about the change process that is happening in education, in an education system, in a formal education system, you see that it is a bi-directional in nature. Any change process, whatever it may be, I'm not specifying this particular change, any change process that we initiate and we expect to happen and we wish to accomplish, it is bi-directional in nature. That is, whatever strategies, whatever plans and whatever policies, guidelines are in place, we just distribute these strategies and guidelines and policy to institutions, education institutions. And who are at the receiving end of these plans, strategies and guidelines? Classrooms. I will say classrooms are the receiving basic units which are receiving and which are at the receiving end of these plans and strategies. And what is happening inside the classroom is a private affair. Is it so? Will you agree? That is, whatever things are happening inside a classroom is a private affair taking place between the teacher and student. And you see that a cycle of change cannot be complete without a proper feedback from the teaching community, from the teacher, accurate feedback. That is, teacher will be implementing all these guidelines and the strategies or instructions that she got from the leader of the institution inside the classroom. And what is happening? What is the real impact of these guidelines or practices? Only teacher knows. So accurate feedback from the teachers matters. Then only a cycle of change will be complete. You can see that in any educational institution, you can see two groups of teachers. These two groups approach the changes in two ways. The first group of teachers, most of the teachers belong to the first category, I will say, that they just comply, they just obey, and they just follow the guidelines and instructions given to them in the interest of some kind of change. But there is a small group of teachers who very meticulously analyze what is the impact of the practices or guidelines that they are implementing in the classroom atmosphere. They record the consequences of the practices, new strategies that they are applying inside the classroom or inside the school itself. And they give consistent feedback. This second group of teachers are making active participation in the change process, I will say. These two groups participate in the process of change in a different manner, my dear friends. And you see that active participation, that is what we need in order to implement the change in an effective manner. And this active participation will be possible only if the head of the institution poses a model for change. Why I am speaking about the head of the institution or leader of the institution? It is because of this. I'm asking you, the audience, who is the head of our institution, education institution? Who is the head of your institution? I will say that head of the institution is recruited not based on their administrative skills. In Kerala, it is like this. In my experience, it is like this. In Kerala, in education systems, leader of the institution or head of the institutions are appointed not based on their administrative skills, not based on their talents or passion or commitment or vision, whatever it may be. We just appoint the heads of the institutions just depending upon their number of years of experience in teaching. If you have 30 or 40 years of experience in teaching, you are eligible to be the head of the institution. This is the present state in Kerala. I don't know what is, I have not explored what is happening in the other institutions of our country. I don't know. But in my experience, in 21 years of experience, I have come to this reality. And it is ridiculous actually, because who has proved that is there any research outcome or is there any scientific evidence that if you are a good teacher, you will have some administrative skills. If you are a good teaching experience will ensure leadership skills. Is there any proof for it? I'm asking. So this system, this way of appointing the leaders of heads of the institution must change. We must find out or we must locate the talents in the individuals. We must, that motivation to ameliorate the system must be there in the heads of the institution, because you know anything about the institution, whether it is a school culture, whether it is a student achievement, whether it is about reforming the education system, changing the present system, whatever it may be, innovation, whatever it may be, everything can happen within the parameter of the leadership. Yes, leadership can influence every aspect of education happening inside an institution. Who can deny this pathway, actually? So the quality of an education system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. This is a saying. This is a quote that I copied from the internet. The quality of an education system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. I want to change two words from this sentence. Look, quality of an educational institution cannot exceed the quality of its leader. So what we need, basically what we need, that quality, the educational institution which provides quality. For that, we need quality leaders at the helm of our education institution. Now we are entering into the most important part of our presentation. In this part, that is part 4, last part, we will be discussing about the evaluation system that we are following in our education. A system cannot exist without evaluating itself honestly. I would like to emphasize the word honest. Honestly, we must be capable of assessing the performance of our system. Our system is, when it comes to evaluation, our system is deeply insecure, too insecure to present itself for an evaluation. To be frank, I am speaking in a frank manner. To be frank, I am afraid of being evaluated by my students, by my co-teachers, I mean, fellow teachers, or even my leader. I have that insecurity in me. The same insecurity is evident in my institution also. My institution will not allow for a honest evaluation for the things happening inside it. For an outside agency, it will not present itself for an evaluation because so many dirty things may come out. And the same is getting reflected all over India. Our education system is afraid of presenting itself to a honest evaluation. Yes, we have a robust method of evaluating our system, that is ACER report. But this ACER report, I'm asking you whether it is providing a systematic comprehensive evaluation. When we speak about a comprehensive evaluation, evaluation is not a unidimensional thing. ACER way of evaluating our education system focuses on the output. What kind of output students are producing? They just conduct the test papers or examinations in the different areas of learning, that is reading, mathematics, science, and they come out with a statistical output, and they say that our system is suffering from some sort of our system is suffering in the case of its quality, and the standard of education is suffering, and all that. They come out with this kind of result, and they do not look into the background factors. Do they evaluate a teacher performance, school culture, teacher-student relationship? All these things must be touched in order to call an evaluation procedure as comprehensive. Then, of course, we have these are the results produced by ACER, ACER in our country. That is 2018. But I will say that we have not defined the indices of for evaluating our system properly. We evaluate students according to their scores or grades written in the written examination. At the same time, we boast of whole child development. Yes, we focus. We have in every education system. No education institution is free from the examination-oriented teaching and learning. I will say all over India, no education institution is free from the clutches of this mania for examination-oriented teaching and learning. Still, some discussions are happening, webinars are happening, seminars are happening, home conferences are happening about whole child development. But it is not reaching into the ground level or into the micro level, that is into the classroom level, the concept of whole child development. At the end of the day, we ask the student how much mark you got in the examination. This is our orientation towards the evaluating the system. No, Can you deny it? We evaluate the performance of an institution just by the number of pass person, the parents, the teachers, everybody evaluate their institution according to the pass percentage. How many students got A plus? That is what I want to say, is that our evaluation till we are practicing is unidimensional. It is not comprehensive. This is what we need, that is openness to evaluation. That is one of the characteristics of a system which claims to be flexible, or which claims that this particular system is claims that we are moving with the change. We are embracing the change. We can claim so only if we are capable of exercising openness to evaluation. That is, at a micro level, we must be open to evaluation by all stakeholders. That is, all the teachers, all the institutions might be ready to confront any kind of evaluation from any phase of the system. At a macro level, I will say repeatedly, emphatically, I will say that we must be ready to put our system on a global platform. We must be able to evaluate the quality and standard of our system against global standards. Because we cannot claim that this is our culture and this is our nation and we have this kind of education and we need not put our system against the global standards. Because no normal education system can confine itself to the walls of nationality and culture. Because this is a globalized world. Sitting inside my room, I can have degree from the United Nations or reputed universities of London and all that. Because education knows no nationality or culture, whatever it may be. And we must raise ourselves, our consciousness to this reality. Because what I wanted to say is that we need PISA model of evaluation. PISA. Do you know what is PISA? PISA is a program for international student assessment. They assess the students, 15-year-old students, sorry, 15-year-old students every 3 years in various areas. That's from all over the world. Different countries participate in this examination. That is reading, mathematics, science, and all that. They first conducted this frame of evaluation in 2000. And why they choose 15-year-old students? By the time a student reaches 15 years, what happens is that he will be carrying the particular student who is coming out of a school, coming out of his school life, I mean school education system or a school, whatever it may be. He will be carrying with him all the demerits, merits, and advantages and disadvantages of a system. That is, the entire system will get reflected in the student who is coming out of school after 15 years of his learning life, I will say. That is why they evaluate different formal education system of the world by evaluating 15-year-olds. And this is a list of the countries who participated in PISA evaluation 2018. And you can see in the left side of this presentation, you can see a list of countries. That is, China stood first, and Singapore followed it, and Canada, Finland. You can see. And if you visit this website and search for our country in this list of countries, if you search for our country, you cannot see, because we did not allow our students to participate in this PISA examination. The reason for that in the education ministry then gave this reason, that is PISA criteria, the criteria or model of the evaluation that PISA exercised does not match with our cultural standards and our interest about in the education system and all that. There is a mismatch between the way PISA conducted the evaluation process and our educational and cultural standards. The ministry explained the reason for not allowing our country to participate in the PISA examination. But recently, the present government has declared, changed the attitude. And we must agree with it, that the government said that we will allow, from this year onwards, we will allow students to participate in the PISA model of PISA this assessment program. You see that now around 90 countries and economies participated in the PISA evaluation model. And till now, 3 crore students from worldwide participated in the PISA. And I'm repeating the question, why we are afraid of global standards? We must be ready to put our education system against global standards and weigh ourselves honestly. And you see, I would like to give you a glimpse of the kind of evaluation, comprehensive evaluation that PISA is applying. Look, PISA's analysis does not focus not only on the intellectual capacity. PISA is not interested only in the outcome or scores that students produce after writing the test papers or the questionnaires in mathematics, reading, English, whatever it may be. But they just probe into the background factors. They are not interested only in the performance of the students. They just they meticulously analyze what all factors led to a particular kind of performance or particular type of performance that students are exhibiting. They probe into the attitude and beliefs of the students, intelligence and ability of the student to persist. And you see that, let us look into the indices or the plan of evaluation. Just in the case of one particular subject, that is mathematics, in 2012, what they evaluated in PISA 2012 around mathematics. They probed into the student and family characters. They probed into the student demographics, that is socio-economic status of students, particularly, and parents' employment and education, home positions, and you see these are the list of indices that they made use of. With the help of the standardized tools, they measured all these variables while assessing the performance of the students in mathematics. They perceived self-efficacy, effort and perseverance, academic self-concept, interest in mathematics. Yes. And these are another list of the variables they used in order to make a comprehensive evaluation. That is school culture, teacher-student relationship, learning environment in the classroom, school climate, and this is what we call the comprehensive evaluation. Education career, the aspiration of the student, environment in the home, learning environment. This is the right kind of evaluation that we should make, actually. Then only we can have some insight into what we need to ameliorate our system, what we are lacking. We can have some clarity towards it. So this is a question that which arises in my mind when I read about this PISA kind of evaluation. Why PISA was interested in these variables while assessing the student performance? You know that this is just because of this. That is, they knew, the organizers of the PISA very well knew that academic performance is not at all a single dimensional affair. That is, students' performance, whether it is high or low, so many background factors must work together to produce an outcome, academic outcome inside a student. That is his personal factors regarding his beliefs, his beliefs, attitude about the subject, and his interest, his aspirations, and contextual factors. For example, classroom climate, the teacher-student relationship, the nature of the teaching, the school climate, and all that, and environmental factors. That is learning environment inside the home, motivation given by the parents. All these factors must work together in order to produce an academic output. And this is not just a statement, it is a scientifically proven fact. So many research outcomes are coming that academic output is not single dimensional. All these factors must fall into place in order to produce best result in academics. And the PISA is not well aware of it. So they wanted to know what all things contributed to success or failure. A student scored well in the performance of PISA. They just analyzed what all things contributed this high performance, what all things contributed to the low performance. And this gives a clear picture about the education scenario of education of a particular country. And I am asking to the individual teachers sitting in front of me, do we dare to assess the success or failure of a student in this manner, in a comprehensive manner? Do we dare, or do we make an attempt to understand the for example, low performance of the students in a right manner? What all things are contributing to the low performance? Do we set out for a comprehensive evaluation of the scenario or situation? I'm asking. This is a question. This is not a question asked by me. This is the title of an article published in a well-known magazine, Teacher Magazine. Will participation in PISA help the change education pattern in India? This is a question, pertinent question. And the answer given by the author of this article is yes. Because it provides a complete picture of country-specific education system. If we are willing to participate in the PISA examination and go through the results and evaluation reports produced by them, we can have better insight into our system, what we are lacking, because there is an evidence for it. I will show you. That is why PISA is important for India. The first reason, it is a tool to evaluate entire education system, because that kind of evaluation they are making, that is PISA examination. And because they know that education system, the real meaning of education system means all these factors are included in it. We cannot focus on student performance in order to evaluate a system. Education policies, programs, national curriculum, students' interest, inherited skills, all these things must come under meticulous evaluation actually. And PISA will help us how well students can analyze, apply, communicate, and all that. They give right kind of insight into our education system and quality of our school resources and quality of our school culture, or what is needed in it. And the last sentence, you can see I have highlighted the name of a country, Germany. Germany gives us is a proof that how much this PISA examination or PISA way of assessment helped their education system. They allowed their students to participate in the PISA evaluation program, and they collected the report and they tried to make the changes in their system according to the evaluation report. And they claim that it has made a considerable impact in their system. Why can't we approach our own system in this way? I'm asking. We need to transform the culture of assessment. Assessment drives learning, because it is assessment which drives the learning and good way to enhance the quality of education. And the final word is this: teaching can be viewed as an art, vocation, and science. These are the various ways of viewing the teaching profession. And every teacher, I am inviting all of you to view your profession in these three manners. It is an art, it is a vocation, it is a science. Teachers who are scientific artists, our education needs teachers who is passionate about the scientific and artistic side of being a teaching professional. It is not only a vocation. Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening to me and I'm happy that at least some of you would have got some insight into what I want to present it here. That is, we must work together for a noble cause, that is raising the standard of education system. And my presentation I made here might have contributed at least a little towards the people who are interested in the matter.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for this nice presentation. Any questions? We will be waiting for
sure, sure, sir.
Yeah, if there is any question, you can unmute yourself and directly ask. Or else we'll try to provide the email ID in the description of this video, which is available on Research Circle. I would like to inform all the participants that this whole session will be available on our Research Circle YouTube channel. So if they want to watch it again, or they want to share to someone, their colleague or their friends, they can do that. I guess that's it for today's session. But before we end, Yeah, there is the number also, contact number also. You can contact to ma'am
Yes, yes, sir.
directly.
You can contact me.
Yeah,
This is my ID.
sure. Before we end, I would like to I would like to ask for 2 minutes for everybody. Here is the thing I would like to tell, that Research Circle is offering a exclusive membership, that is a Prime membership, which is one-stop solution to all your research needs, as you can see on your screen. In this particular uh, Research Circle Prime membership, what we offer is, there is the free digital visiting card, which is like an absolute a single website for individual researcher, individual professors. We are offering upcoming 75 plus paid webinar, which is exclusively paid, but will be free for all our Research Circle Prime members. We are offering book chapter publication for free under this membership. We are offering free Turnitin and plagiarism checking under this membership. Also, exclusive webinar will provide the certificate and study material for free for the Prime members. And last but not the least, flat 30% of discount on all the conferences we will arranging under Research Circle. And this all comes under only 999 INR or 20 USD if you are if you belong to the country other than India. It's 20 USD, and many more we are adding on daily basis. So this is the all the details. You can contact us for the further details. Also, one more venture we like to add here is that we are trying for an attempt of most chapters in a single book for all India Book of Records, for India Book of Records. And the title of this book you can see on your screen, that emerging trends in science, social science, energy, engineering, and management, a multidisciplinary approach. The last date, due to huge demand, we have increased the last date for 15 September 2021. So here is the call for book chapter, and you can visit the website. This is the website, that is IMCCRT. Here you can go to book chapter. Here you will find sub chapters also. Here is the whole detail explained. So those who are interested, they can directly directed to the website, that is imccrt.iikr. So this was a small thing I would like to share to you. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined us via Research Circle app, via YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And last but not the least, thank you so much, Dr. Jenny Raffel ma'am, for taking out the time and delivering such a nice session. And thank you so much, all the participants.